Sam Oliverio, he's been our town supervisor for just about 6 months now, since January 1st, 2016. He's a great proponent of Roaring Brook Lake. I think when he talks about it, he's more affectionate than I am.
I grew up in Putnam Valley. My people moved from the Bronx, 1954. I was just a year old. They bought the deli at Adams Corners. I grew up there. Not a lake site. I had no access. So growing up, I made sure that my closest friends were from Roaring Brook, Lake Oscawana, and Lake Peekskill, so that I could swim in the summer. I love your lake. Look at it. Look at it. That is a gem. And I remember as a kid swimming here. Just awesome. Putnam Valley has been my home for 63 years. And I love it, and I will do everything I can to preserve it. First thing I want to talk about very quickly is that I and myself have been interviewing individuals for a full lake management plan. It's important that you know what to do to be proactive to keep this lake as pristine and as beautiful as it is. If you don't take steps to ensure its future, you will lose this. I have seen many ponds, many lakes in this town, small lakes, putrefy, die, and end up being swampland. As close as Church Road, there was a beautiful pond. As you go towards Oscawana Lake Road, on Church Road, it's a curve, there's a little slight waterfall and what looks like a swampland. That was an open pond, a beautiful swimming pond that filled in because there was no care. Barger Pond is running the risk of being closed for the entire summer. Barger Pond, a fairly large body of water, because of the algae blooms and the lack of care on that body of water. So it's important. So we've been interviewing, and we will continue to interview at least 3 individuals who can give us a good idea of their costs and also the extent of what they can do for a lake management plan. Lake Peekskill did it. It cost them $14,000, but they're following it. Larry, God bless him and his crew, he reopened our retention pond down there. It is working beautifully. They've taken care of a lot of drainage areas. So Lake Peekskill is on the way to being proactive and taking care of itself. Lake Oscawana has done that through biofilters and also some drainage up there as well. We have to do that for Roaring Brook. You have the carp, which is good, but the carp are not going to solve your problem of the lake being filled with algae due to septic runoff and other environmental impacts that we'll have upon that lake. So we need somebody, an expert, to come forward and say, this is what you need to do. So we're interviewing now, and hopefully, again, we will not expend the district money unless the residents agree, but during budget time, we will have some proposals to consider, and we want the most responsible, lowest bid for the lake management study and lake management plan. You need that. All the other lake districts have it, so it's important. I also, yeah.
Is there a list of criteria for the person or the company you're thinking of hiring? Could we see it, the list of criteria that you're hiring to?
I know we have,
I mean, this has got to be shared with community, right?
Yeah, I think, I go to Nispola, I go to the local Hudson Federation of Lake Associations every year, and I've gone twice to the New York statewide one. And I have pretty good communication with a lot of people there. We're working with the best companies. We're working with people who work with local lakes. We're also looking for somebody who's responsive and who will be the kind of person we can work with.
These are individuals with advanced biological or hydrological degrees. Dr. Knockline, Chris Doyle, and the other gentleman
is Mike Martin so it's 2 of the biggest companies, Princeton Hydro and Solitude, which are 2 of the biggest Northeast countries.
Throughout the country, Solitude, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. But they're extremely well respected. They're people who lecture at the Nispola meetings, who are well respected in the fields, who publish, who are thoughtful. And then we're looking at an independent person who has a smaller operation, but who's also very well respected.
And highly
I
recommended.
understand we're looking at people who are highly respected, and I would assume that because you guys are working on it, so this is great. But what list are we check marking off as we say, okay, they've got all of that? We need to know what we're hiring.
Their ability to gather the data on vegetation, the fishes, the depth of the lake, the health of the lake. They have to be able to do that. And so far, the Hydro and Solitude have that. We're going to meet with Mr. Martin himself to see what kind of expertise he has. Without the data, you can't make a management plan. So that's the first step, Kathy. And then they have to have the credentials behind them. They need that hydrological or biological degree.
Right.
And the individuals we're interviewing do have those. They have masters or beyond, 6-year degrees or even doctorates.
Oh,
So, doctorates, yeah.
All three people are doctors.
Yeah, very important that they have that expertise and that they've actually been out there talking, giving seminars and discussions about lake health. It's important. I can't stress it enough that if we just sit here and admire the lake, in time we will be admiring nothing but a mud hole. And I mean that. And I love this lake. And Osceola and even Lake Peekskill have picked up the baton and they're running with it with their lake management. Their grandchildren, grandchildren beyond. And they can if we maintain it. Look at what you have. Look at this. This is so gorgeous. My God. I come here and you can feel the pull of the energy within that lake, within your surroundings. We have to keep it this way. And as long as I'm supervisor, I will try to do that to the highest level possible. And that lake management plan really important. Is really. These beaches are for recreational use, not for parties, not for fire pits. Fire pits are illegal. We will not have fire pits on any of the beaches. I spoke to the insurance companies that carry us. They said you cannot have those. They will either burn someone or set fire to some place. They're not here. And if any occur, I need to know about that as well, because we will shut that down in a heartbeat. We have to preserve the natural nature of these beaches. It's recreation. You have some of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful beaches in all of Putnam Valley. They're gorgeous. They're well maintained, they're shaded, they're forested, they're gorgeous. You want to keep them that way. So no fire pits, no dogs. This is not a dog park. It really depressed me today when I came in and dog poop is up there by the boat rack. That makes me crazy. If you see somebody with a dog here and you know who they are, call my office. I will serve them a summons because this is not allowed. It's posted. Every beach is posted with that. Some people may think this is restricted. We are not being restricted. We are caring about the entire community, our kids, our parents, our grandparents. The beach is for their enjoyment. It is not supposed to be, Fort Lauderdale during spring break. That's not what they're here for.
Now,
So
how
we
about the
want to
nighttime?
preserve
If you
that.
don't live on the lake and you want to take your kayak out in the full moon,
Well, you can do that. You can launch that. That's fine. You can't be on the beach after dusk.
so if your kayak is here, it's okay for you to be here and
Yeah,
put it
you're going
out?
to take the kayak out.
You
You're not on the beach.
Okay.
What we want to prevent are individuals partying out here, and God forbid, losing their center of focus through alcohol or some other nefarious substance, ending up in the water floating away. God forbid, but it's happened. And the insurance companies are very, very aware of that type of situation. And in dusk, darkness, you don't know if somebody's out in the lake or not.
Right.
God forbid. We don't need that.
So if you come down and see a whole bunch of people after hours having a little beer party, you call up the sheriff?
Yes, and I've spoke to Peter Convery, the undersheriff, and General Don Smith, the sheriff of Putnam County. They're good friends. For the 18 years I was on the legislature, I know them very well. They have special patrols that you'll be seeing more and more of them right around darkness. And you call their number. It's 225-4300. 225-4300, and they'll respond immediately. There's always cars in Putnam Valley. The sheriff has treated us very, very well here in the valley since we lost our police department back in the 90s. His patrols are here. You call him, he will respond and close that party down.
They come routinely now.
They do.
Yeah,
They'll be
I see
patrolling. Not
that.
at the same time all the time. They don't want to put that out. They want to vary the times. So that's the other thing I want to talk about are the rules and regulations that have to be followed. Just residents are allowed to use the beach unless they're a relative, and you should accompany them to the beach then, if they're a friend or a relative. The other thing I want to touch on are the Airbnbs. We have been sending violations out to anybody who is using their home through the Airbnb. That's those rentals where you're self-contained and you're renting your house. Can't be done. Our charter in the town of Putnam Valley restricts hotel usage to those buildings that are permitted. You would have to go before the planning board and get a special use permit then from the zoning board to rent your house out. Now you want your friends to use your house on a weekend, a small party, relatives, we can't stop you from that. But the minute money is exchanged, that is illegal. You will receive a $1,000 fine for the first offense, up to $3,000 for the second and $5,000 for the third. That is on our books. That is the reality of it. We've sent out warnings, violations to about 6 or 7 families here in Roaring Brook, also Lake Oscawana and Lake Peekskill. When we find it and we examine the Airbnb sites and also Craigslist and all that to see who's renting. You can't do it unless you're permitted. Can you get the permit? Yeah, but it'll run you about $1,700 to get it. And you have to show cause that environmentally your septic can handle more than who's already living there, and that your water supply will not be impacted by the amount of people you rent to. Why are we cracking down on this? Because too often we have found with the Airbnbs that there has been abuse. Not only here in Roaring Brook, but also Lake Oscawana and Lake Peekskill. People rent their house, and next thing we know, there's 15, 20 people partying on this rented piece of property. While the owners are away for the weekend, then they come back, and between time the damage has been done. So we are very tight on that. Again, I've been accused all my political career in governmental work of being an extreme environmentalist. I'm proud of that. I love this. I want to see it stay pristine, and we will do everything we can as long as I'm supervisor to preserve that. Yes?
I just want to backtrack 1 minute to you were talking about the DOT.
From the Department of Transportation, who's coming down to meet with me to present the plans that they have for this and to ask when would be the best time to have a public hearing on this. Tomorrow. I said as soon as we can. So anticipate within the next couple of weeks the announcement that the Taconic Overpass will be discussed and the plans displayed from the Department of Transportation. It could be as early as 2018, and I'm hoping that, fingers crossed. So we'll see. But anyway, that's some good news.
So many people are leaving because the Garden Club tourism. I want to make sure we have a really big thank you for Sam before
And thank everybody for coming.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you. Everyone for tonight.